Okay, so good morning once again, guys. Today we're going to finish this worksheet that we were working on financial ratio analysis. And last time we said there are 5 different types of ratios that we're going to focus on: liquidity, asset management, debt ratio, profitability ratio, and the market value ratios. Okay, so last time we started looking at liquidity ratios and asset management ratios, although we didn't finish the asset management ratios. For liquidity, we said that it measures the capability of the firm to pay its current obligations when they fall due. So one loose measure is current ratio because it makes use of current assets. However, we said that it's not enough to just look at current assets because we need to look at the quality of the current assets. So some current assets like inventory and prepayment might take longer to convert into cash. That's why we're using the more rigid, the more strict measure, which is the quick ratio or the acid test ratio, where we only use cash, marketable securities, and receivables to measure the firm's capability to pay its current obligations. So here we can see that as far as the quick ratio is concerned, in 2019, for every current liability that would become due, there was only 0.5 or 50 centavos of quick assets to pay that current liability. So that means that the company, assuming that the kindly mute lang please, no? Kung sino man na ano. Okay. Thank you. So ibig sabihin guys na 50 centavos lang yung available na funds to pay the current liability. Okay? So, Hans, mukhang naka-unmute yung ano mo. Paki-ano lang ha, please. Thank you, Hans. All right. So, tapos, in terms of current assets, medyo okay lang tayo, 2.6 versus our competitor, 2.7. Pero pagdating guys sa quick ratio, sa 2019, 0.5 na lang, ano? And then 0.9 noong 2020, medyo close naman to the competitor. This means that for every 1 peso of current liability, the company has 0.9 or 90 centavos of quick assets, which includes cash, marketable securities, and receivables to convert to cash to pay the current liability. Yung cash na naman yan. Yung marketable securities, medyo easily converted into cash din yan. Ang question na lang dun yung receivables. Kasi depende sa nature ng receivables, depende yan sa collection performance ng company. No? All right, then we go to a more important, okay? Well, in terms of measuring the usefulness, how the company was able to utilize its assets. So, importante itong asset management relative to liquidity ratios. So last time we took a look at these 3 turnovers. No? Yung turnover, ang binibilang yan ilang beses sa isang taon. So yung inventory turnover, we said that it measures how many times a year is the company able to buy raw materials, convert to finished goods, and then sell. Si competitor, 6.1 times a year. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a certain fraction. So ito yung number of times na nagagawa niya yung process na yun as compared to our company na 3.9 times lang. So dito pa lang guys, makikita natin na talon-talo tayo in terms of managing the assets. Now si ITO, may pinsan yan. Ang pinsan niya si Days Inventory Outstanding. Okay, Days, sorry, this should be Days, not sales to, no? Days Inventory Outstanding. Okay, Days Inventory Outstanding. So, ang company natin, 3.9 times a year nako-convert into finished goods and then sell. That's equivalent to 95 days yung isang cycle. Okay, guys, excuse lang sandali. I'll just answer something at the door, no? Hindi lang. Okay, apologies about that, guys. So I was saying that itong inventory turnover na to, pinsan yan si days inventory outstanding. They're the same, no? Convert lang, convertible yan. No? Ibig sabihin, tayo 3.9 times yung company natin napoprocess yung raw materials, bibili ng raw materials, convert to finished goods, and then sell. 3.9 times, samantalang yung competitor natin 6.1 times. Okay, and that, guys, in terms of days, 95 days yun. Okay? So 95 days natin nagagawa yon, samantalang yung ano natin, yung competitor natin in 60 days. Tapos nila, no? So sa competitor natin, this takes 60 days. 60 days, or it's equivalent to 6.1 times, 60, 60, 60, etc. So guys, please take note that the inventory turnover is similar to the days inventory outstanding. Only we take a look at it from a different perspective. No? Si ITO, yung number of times a year. Si DIO, it's the days, number of days per cycle. So we can say that our company is performing worse relative to the direct competitor. Kasi 60 days siya. In fact, nag-deteriorate, 91, pero nung 2019, gumanda naman, pero bumalik na naman sa 95. And then we said that this should require a further analysis from the company. Bakit ganun kabagal yung DIO natin relative to the competitor? So that requires further analysis and further study from the company. Now, in terms of ARTO, accounts receivable turnover, so ano ibig sabihin ng 10.2 times? Ibig sabihin 10.2 times a year, 10.2 times a year na from sales, collect, sales, collect, sales, collect. So 10.2 times as compared to 9.3 times natin. As compared to 9.3 times. So again, the competitor outperforms our company. Okay? So ITO and ARTO, the higher the better. Kasi that will mean a high ITO would mean a lower number of days. So days inventory outstanding and days sales outstanding. Si competitor natin, nakakakolekta sila on the average 15 days. From sales to collection, 15 days. Tayo, 39 days. Okay? So this means that we're performing relatively poorer compared to our direct competitor. In fact, ito yung pinakamataas na for the past 2 years. No? Dati 37, again 31, tapos again 39. So what's the cause of this? Is it because of very poor collection practices ng company? Very poor ba yung policies ng company? Okay, so a lot of things that can be deduced from this one. What's important is the company has to sit down and analyze how they can perform better, improve on their processes, and because the benchmarking against the direct competitor, okay, tells a lot about how the company is managing its assets. Okay, and then last, itong APTO related to DPO, which is days payable outstanding. Ito 15.1, ibig sabihin 15.1 times na pagkabili ng raw materials on account, okay, binabayaran. Payable, accounts payable turnover, APTO. Now, itong APTO, guys, the lower the better. The lower the better. So compared to our company, 17 tayo, si competitor 15.1, the competitor is performing better in terms of APTO. Kasi pag kinonvert natin yan into DPO, yan ito naman magpinsan si APTO at saka si DPO, days payable outstanding or average payment period, average collection period, average inventory period. So ano ibig sabihin nito? Okay, tingnan natin, ang laki ng discrepancy, Ang laki ng discrepancy. Si competitor 90 days. Ibig sabihin, from the purchase of the raw material to payment, 90 days si competitor. Tayo 22. Well, this means that the competitor enjoys longer terms for their purchase of their goods, for their purchase of their raw materials or goods. Tayo within 22 days. Ang tanong, bakit? Okay, bakit sila maganda yung credit limit nila? Tayo 22. Was there instances in the past na hindi tayo nakakabayad, hindi na mo-monitor yung payables, tapos nag-overdue tayo, tapos Nagagalit yung supplier natin kasi matagal tayo magbayad. Okay? So with that guys, siguro linilitan nila yung credit terms sa atin. Okay, I can only guys come up with the possible scenarios. What's important is that this has to be analyzed. Okay, itong accounts payable turnover or itong DPO, days payable outstanding. Okay, so these are all very important measures kasi it tells us how our inventory, how our sales, how receivables are being managed by the company, how the payment of trade payables is being managed by the company. Okay, so much so that we have these two measures, yung operating cycle at saka cash conversion cycle, which are very important. So let's start with the operating cycle. Si competitor natin, 75, tayo 134. Okay, anong ibig sabihin ng operating cycle? It's a day's inventory outstanding plus the day sales outstanding. So, tingnan natin illustration dito. No? Okay, operating cycle. So if we take a look at this, yung operating cycle ni competitor, DIO plus DSO is equal to 75. Okay, that's actually 15. Okay, 60 plus 15. 60 yung DIO niya, 15 yung DSO. Okay, so this is 60 plus 15. Okay, 60 days to manufacture, to sell, and then 15 days to collect. Therefore, 75 days yung operating cycle. That's called your cash-to-cash cycle. Bakit cash-to-cash cycle? Kasi at the start, bibili ng raw materials. So some cash could have been used, cash outflow. And then kailan babalik yon? In the form of collection. Ito. From cash, labas dito, cash, pasok dito. So that's cash-to-cash cycle. 75 days. Okay? So is that good or bad? Again, guys, we cannot analyze this in a nutshell. Kailangan i-benchmark natin yan. So okay ba yung competitor? Okay? Well, we begin to see the glaring difference between our company's performance and the competitor's performance. Kasi operating cycle natin is 134 days, consisting of days inventory outstanding na 95, days sales outstanding na 39. Okay, so that's 134. Ibig sabihin, guys, from buying the raw materials to converting into finished goods, to selling, to collection, that's 134 days. Yung competitor natin, 75 days na-complete na nila yung cycle na yun. Tayo, halos magdodoble pa muna bago natin mako-complete yung cycle. So much so that yung 75 days yan, mako-convert natin into number of times yan. Okay, so so ito guys, how do I compute for the number of times yung itong operating cycle? Well, it's operating days, which is 365 divided by yung 75. So yung days, convert natin into times. So take note guys, yung times pwede i-convert into days and days pwede i-convert into number of times. So that means 4.87 times per year na gagawa ng competitor natin yan. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and a fraction 0.87. So that's how fast the company is able to do their operating cycle. No? So bili ng raw materials, convert into finished goods, sell, and then collect. 75 days all in all, and then 4.87 times a year. Compare natin sa atin, 134 days. So 134 days, diba? Kunin natin number of times yan. Operating days divided by 134 days, we get 2.73 times lang. So si competitor 4.87 times ginagawa yan. Tayo 2.73 lang. 1, 2, and a fraction 0.73. So talagang talon-talo tayo ni benchmark natin, ni direct competitor. And if lalo na kung direct competitor yan, guys, ibig sabihin direct competitor, talagang kayo yung magkalaban sa industry. It's not like Jollibee versus Burger Machine. Hindi ganun. It's more like Jollibee versus McDonald's. Ganun yung kino-compare natin. Ang tawag sa ganung competitor, direct competitor. Yung isa naman, si Jollibee at saka si Burger Machine, ang tawag dyan, indirect competitor. They might be in the same industry but they don't really compete with each other kasi magkaiba talaga yung resource base nila. Jollibee and McDonald's, yun ang competitor. Jollibee and Burger Machine, as an example guys, they are indirect competitors. All right. So, ang assumption natin dito si competitor is the direct competitor. So, why? Why guys does it take them to have their operating cycle at 75 days, tayo at 134? So, titingnan natin yung mga components yan. Inventory, sales, no? Ano nangyayari? So, baka sa pagbili ng raw material, natatagalan na tayo. So, ibig sabihin, hindi magaling yung ano natin, pag-source ng raw materials. O baka sa process mismo, sa pag-convert into finished goods. Baka marami tayong wastage. Yung mga tao natin, hindi talaga ano. Yung mga tao natin, since they're being treated poorly, wala silang dedication. Diba? Wala tayong makikitang commitment sa kanila. Okay, so these things, management has to look into it. How do we now have the buy-in of the employees, of the staff, so that they are committed to making making the process, the operations work well. Okay, baka maraming mga wastages, ang dami nasasayang. So kasi pag maraming wastages, guys, hahaba yung process. Papalitan kasi yung mga na-waste, hindi kasi pwedeng mabenta yun. So it prolongs the operating cycle. And not to mention yung tataas yung operating cost kasi ang daming nasasayang. So these things, no? So is it because also of marketing, yung pagbenta? Bakit ang tagal ng process ng company na to? 134 days operating cycle. Is it poor marketing strategies? Hindi sila kilala, hindi alam yung product nila. So hindi promoted, no? Ano yung mga marketing purpose, yung product, price, place, promotion. Okay? Are they not able to promote their products well? So yung whole gamut ng operations guys, makikita natin dito sa this asset management ratio. So these are very critical in order to assess whether the company is performing well or not. Here, makikita natin na talong-talo sila ng competitor. Okay, and this it demands guys for an improvement in the process of the operations of the company. Okay, and then we go to cash conversion cycle. We have 112 and negative 15. Ano ibig sabihin yan? Pwede palang negative 15 yung cash, negative yung cash conversion cycle. Okay, let me explain what the cash conversion cycle is. So this is our cash conversion cycle. Okay, ang cash conversion cycle is your days inventory outstanding plus days sales outstanding minus days payable outstanding. Or it's the operating cycle minus DPO. So ang operating cycle ni competitor 75, ang DPO niya 19. So we're having here a negative 15. So what's the implication of negative 15? Okay, so ito yung operating cycle natin 75. Ito yung DPO natin 90. Ang ibig sabihin nito guys, sa operating cycle on the 75th day, nakolekta na natin yung receivables natin. Tapos on the 90th day pa natin, babayaran si trade payables. That means meron tayong 15 days para magamit yung funds natin bago natin bayaran yung suppliers natin. We can put that in, maybe a short-term investment, 15 days, kikita pa rin ng ano yun, kahit paano. No? So the bigger the negative the cash conversion cycle is, in a sense, that's the better for the company kasi mas magagamit nila yung funds nila for a longer time muna bago nila babayaran yung suppliers. Okay? On the other hand, yung company natin 112, which is kasi ang operating cycle natin 134, tapos ang days payable outstanding 22. So ano ibig sabihin nun? Day 22 magbabayad na tayo, day 134 pa tayo makakakolekta. Okay, saan yung pambayad dito? So theoretically wala pa guys kasi 134th day pa natin makukolekta eh. Therefore, theoretically, we will have to finance the payable. Okay, manghihiram tayo short term para bayaran yung ano. Kasi ayaw naman natin na mag-default dun sa payable natin. No? Babayaran natin on the 22nd day. Tapos mangungutang tayo para mabayaran yan. And then the financing will be 112 days bago natin mabayaran yung inutang natin. Okay, so the cash conversion cycle tells us of the number of days na kailangan ipapa-finance natin yung payables natin bago natin mabayaran yun. So the longer the cash conversion cycle is, the positive, no? Longer, positive, ibig sabihin, the more inefficient the company is. Okay? Kasi ibig sabihin nun, malaki yung operating cycle, maliit yung DPO. And then, a longer cash conversion cycle entails, guys, interest. Kasi uutang tayo dito, babayaran natin dito, and the interest is a function of time. Okay, the longer the time na bago natin bayaran, the higher will be the interest. Okay, so dito, guys, kitang-kita natin na talong-talo yung company natin in terms of asset management. Okay, cash conversion cycle natin, a big 112 days. Ibig sabihin, kailangan ipapa-finance natin yung payables natin ng 112 days bago natin mabayaran yun. Okay, kasi dito pa lang natin makokollect yung receivables. Okay, as against this one, guys, so negative 15. Okay, now what about, guys, ano ibig sabihin ng negative na 180 days? This is a big cash conversion cycle. Negative, ha? So is this good or bad? Pakichat nga, please. Kung okay tong negative 180 na to, na cash conversion cycle. Chat please kung yes or no yan. Yes, na maganda yung negative na cash conversion cycle na yan. Yes or no lang, guys? Yes or no? Yung negative ba na 180 na cash conversion cycle, is that good? Thank you. I am getting only one answer. Sana may ibang mag-answer. How about the rest, guys? What's your take? What's your guess? Okay, so si Ada, no. Okay, yung iba, may I have the answers of the other students? Renzo, Amika, good. Okay, Renzo, no. Yung iba? I just got 3 answers. What about the rest? I'll wait for a few more seconds to see the answer of the others. So, okay, Eva, yes for the company. Okay. Thank you, Eva. Okay. So, John, yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. So, most of you answered yes. Okay, may isang no. Okay. Ano ibig sabihin ng negative 180 na cash conversion cycle? Let me see. Bea, nag-answer ka ng yes? What does a 180, negative 180 cash conversion cycle imply? Bakit yes yung answer mo?
Hello po.
Yes, yes, Bea. I can hear you.
Based po sa explanation na binigay niyo, I think the bigger the number, the days from the operating cycle to the day that they will pay na, I think the money can, use as short-term investments and papakitaan pa yung money.
Tama mo. That's very true. That's correct. No? Negative 180, ibig sabihin, nakolekta natin yung pera, tapos 180 days muna bago natin bayaran yung yung suppliers natin, yung mga trade payables. Kasi current liabilities lang to, guys. We're just talking of operating assets. So mga current assets, current liabilities to. 180 days. Kung positive 180 yan, ako grabe. Ibig sabihin, manghihiram tayo, payable pa in 180 days. Okay? Ibig sabihin, malaki yung interest yan. Kalahating taon yung interest. Samantalang pag negative yan, tayo mag-earn ng interest. Okay? So, on the surface, guys, that's correct. No? A high negative cash conversion cycle is very good for the company. Okay? However, guys, may downside yan. Okay, may downside yan. Ano ibig sabihin ng negative 180? Ang ibig sabihin guys, ang negative 180 on the other hand is that it will take us long to pay our suppliers. Okay, sabihin natin ang operating cycle natin within 15 days makukolekta natin. So, ang DPO natin will be 195, yes. 15 minus 195, that gives us negative 180. So that means we pay our suppliers after 195 days. 195 days muna natin bago binabayaran sila. Okay, so is that good or bad? Well, in a sense, guys, medyo may problem tayo doon. Kasi yung mga suppliers natin, kailangan din nila ng cash flow. So kung masyado nating titikisin yung suppliers, baka naman hindi mabuhay na yan, no? Okay, so related to stakeholder theory, where we would want also to address the needs of the suppliers, we might have a problem with that. There's one company in the Philippines, guys, na medyo ganyan yung business model niya, no? Matagal niyang muna binabayaran yung mga suppliers, no? And you know this company, guys, it's not a merchandising or retail company. It's more of a real estate company, and that's SM. So I have a friend who used to do business in SM. Kaso talagang ang tagal nila bago nila makuha yung mga nabenta nila. Kasi ang cashier niyan taga SM. Okay, and my percentage yung SM dun sa sales. Okay? So nababalik sa kanila yung cash. Matagal, mahaba yung terms. Eh, syempre, for you to really operate in sa company, kailangan kailangan liquid, kailangan may cash. Okay, so kaya nga lumipat sila sa Robinsons Kasi sa Robinsons mas manageable yata yung operating cycle nila, no? So mukhang sa Robinsons yata mas mababa yung cash conversion cycle. Although it's still negative, pero mas mababa. So, ganun guys, ito yung danger nito, no? A very high negative cash conversion cycle. That might be detrimental to your suppliers. And if we operate on a principle of pool system, ibig sabihin, as we profit, you also profit with us, no? Kasi symbiotic daw. Symbiotic, you benefit, we benefit. Lahat tayo magbe-benefit. As compared to just a push system, basta bahala kayo dyan, ako, basta kumita ako, wala akong pakialam sa inyo. Okay, so it has something to do with the business philosophy of the company. Okay, so very interesting yan guys, kasi, Basti, it's not SMDC, it's SM itself, no? SM, which includes dali lang guys, sorry, may nagtanong lang sa akin. Okay, so all right, so ito guys yung danger, although on the surface parang ang ganda-ganda niya, no? Kasi ibig sabihin nito, yung DPO natin is around 180, no? Or more than 180. So it means that we're paying our suppliers on the average more than 180 days. Halos kalahating taon na yun. And paano din magsusurvive yan? Kailangan mahaba din yung PC ng mga yan. Pag hindi ganun, kawawa. That's why yung friend ko na nag-venture into a business, hindi niya nakayanan sa SM. That's why he had to transfer to Robinsons. Okay, so any questions guys with the cash conversion cycle? Okay, so chat dito. Yeah, thank you, Basti. Yeah, SM mismo. Okay, kasi remember SM guys, SMDC is developed, sa construction sila, no? SMDC, yun ang ginagawa nila. Ang mga kalaban ni SMDC, yung DMCI, yung sa Ayala, yung mga construction companies, that's SM Development Corporation. Okay, yung mga big companies maraming construction companies. Okay. So clear ba guys yung clear tong wait where did you get 195? Okay. Example ko lang yon, Mark. So example lang kasi yung 180 kunyari, no? Saan nanggaling yan? Kasi how do we get cash conversion cycle? That's operating cycle, and then we have DPO. Okay, so as an example, ang sabi ko, saan galing yung negative 180? So I was saying, baka yung operating cycle natin 15. So then this should be 195. Yan, yan example ko lang. No? Kasi pag i-minus natin yan, 15 minus 195. Okay. So sabihin natin kunyari yung operating cycle 15 days. So siguro baka hindi manufacturing company to, baka ano lang to, no, trading, no? So bibili ng finished goods, benta and then sell. 15 days nila nagagawa 'yon. Pero binabayaran nila yung suppliers nila 195 days on the average. So if we compute for the cash conversion cycle kasi yan will be OC minus DPO. So it's negative 180. Doon ang galing to negative 180. So ang ibig sabihin niyan guys, nakaka-collect na tayo in 15 days. Most probably walang ano to, hindi tayo nagbibigay ng terms. Pero yung terms natin sa suppliers natin on the average 195 days. 'Di ba? Ang saya-saya kasi magagamit pa natin yung pera natin ng 180 days bago natin babayaran yung suppliers. However guys, sabi nga natin may downside yan, ha? Kasi we might be looking only at our profitability, at the company's welfare without looking at the suppliers. Sabi nga natin, the company who really championed this is Toyota. No? Si Toyota, grabe siya sa pag-select ng mga suppliers. Parang relationship for life, no? So hindi siya yung tipong western method tulad ng Chrysler, ng Ford dati na yung pinaglalaban-laban nila yung mga suppliers nila. Si Toyota hindi. Nakipag-establish siya ng relationship with the suppliers so that the suppliers were encouraged to locate near Toyota. So parang community na, parang it's like a system where you have the company and you have the network of suppliers there. And that's the reason why Toyota was able to really lower down its cost and was able to penetrate the American market. Dati hindi makapenetrate yan. But because of this TQM, this total quality management system, and this Kaizen, yung continuous improvement ng processes nila, they were able to really compete with the American car market. Okay? So, Mark, clear yun, yung 195. I think, okay. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, salamat. So, example lang to guys, ha? I just thought of an example just to magnify yung concept natin ng maganda yung CCC ng negative, guys. Pero should be taken with with caution. No? Pag masyado ng malaki yan, medyo siguro tingnan na natin kung tama ba yung baka mag-lose out naman yung suppliers. Okay? Ito naman on the other side naman yung other extreme, itong malaking positive na CCC. That's not also a good way to do business, no? Na masyadong malaking financing natin para sa payables natin. Because that will entail more interest for the company. And ibig sabihin din yan, guys, no? Ibig sabihin yan, ang pangit ng performance natin, operating cycle natin, kasi masyadong malaki. No? So, yan titingnan na natin yung pag-acquire ng raw materials, pag-convert into finished goods, pagbenta, and then pag-collect. No? So, ang tawag dyan, guys, yung the whole value chain ng company. Yung value chain niya. Okay, from suppliers, okay, to process yung input process ng company at saka yung internal processes niya, both the manufacturing process, tapos yung pagbenta niya, yung marketing, tapos yung collection niya. Okay, medyo malaking titingnan dapat dito sa operations na to. Okay? So I hope that's clear, guys. Paki-chat nga kung okay so far up to itong cash conversion cycle. May I have your feedback, guys, kung okay so far? Yes. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mika. Thank you, Ada. Okay, good. Good. Salamat, ha. So, Renzo, salamat. So, sa paper, Mario, thank you, Basti. Salamat. So, sa paper nyo, guys, focus din kayo dito. Tingnan nyo, no? Tingnan nyo kung, di ba, mag-a-assume muna kayo kung sino yung company nyo, tapos kung sino yung benchmark. So, i-clarify nyo yun, guys. Sa simula pa lang, chapter 1, alam natin kung sino kung anong company kayo part of. Okay, so you assume that you're part of that company and then you're analyzing it by comparing it with your benchmark company. So better to choose that company that is quote-unquote lesser performing para bine-benchmark nyo sa mas mataas na company. Okay, FATO and TATO. Now, sorry guys, nagkamali ako ng formula dito. I said, ang nabigay ko sa inyo yata net income after tax. It should be sales, no? Kasi net income after tax over total assets, that's your TATO. Okay, so dito, notice guys, ang numerator natin, income statement, ang denominator natin, balance sheet. When you have ratios like that, guys, what we usually do, kasi si sales period yan for one whole year. Tapos kung gagamitin lang natin si fixed assets, a point in time lang, kunyari December 31, then hindi magiging maganda yung parang hindi realistic, no? So what we do is we get the average of your balance sheet account. So FATO, you're focused on the fixed asset, yun ang denominator natin. TATO, the denominator is your total asset. Yung mga formulas guys na turnover, kung ano guys yung tine-turnover, yun ang nasa denominator. So fixed asset turnover, ibig sabihin si fixed asset yung nasa denominator, total asset turnover, si total asset yung nasa denominator. Okay, so here I'll just flash the formula. I hope guys you did this already para comparison na lang tayo kung may mali sa formula nyo. So it's sales divided by the average of your fixed assets. So kahit na wala tayong 2017, sabi natin, pwede naman natin makuha yung average yan. Okay, so 9.95, 9.08, 7.92. So bumababa yung FATO natin. Ibig sabihin ng FATO guys is you're generating 7 pesos and 92 centavos of sales for every use of 1 peso of fixed assets. So although over time, bumababa guys yung FATO natin, kasi di ba mas maganda kung mas mataas yung FATO, ibig sabihin nun, we're generating more sales for every peso of fixed assets. Dito, bumababa siya. So in terms of benchmark, with respect to time comparison, hindi nagiging maganda, no? Bumababa yung performance natin in terms of FATO. However, with reference to your benchmark, mas maganda yung performance natin. 7.92 pesos sales per 1 peso fixed asset. Samantalang si competitor natin 7 pesos lang. Okay? Then we have TATO. Total assets naman yun. So again, i-average lang natin siya. Okay, so the TATO should be lower than the FATO, no? Kasi mas malaki yung total assets natin kaysa sa fixed asset. So mas malaki yung denominator natin. So here 2.2 guys, 2.2. So medyo tayo, no? Tumaas noong 2019 pero it went down again to 2020. So for these 3 years, ang pinakamaganda natin si 2019. Pinaka-pangit na performance si 2020. But and then our competitor outperforms us in terms of total asset utilization. So what does 2.2 mean? Ibig sabihin, we're able to generate 2.20 sales for every 1 peso of total assets. Okay, notice guys, natalo natin si competitor in terms of fixed assets. Pero talo tayo in terms of total assets. That means guys na talo tayo ni competitor in terms of current assets. Kasi ito fixed assets eh. Talo natin si competitor. Ano pa ba yung assets to get your total assets? Current assets. So, tinotal, kaya tayo bumagsak kasi talo tayo in terms of management as far as current assets is concerned. And that can be seen here, di ba? Kitang-kito dito yan sa inventory turnover, R2 at saka UP2. So, consistent guys, no? Consistent. When we take a look now at the total assets, talo tayo. Pero kung fixed assets lang, medyo talo natin yung talo natin si competitor. Okay? So that, guys, in a nutshell, is our asset management ratios. So once again, guys, we don't look at just a value, kunyari net income after tax lang, hindi pa pwede yun. Kailangan, we should do ratios, and then yung ratios na yan, kailangan benchmark across time and benchmark across your competitor. Okay? Any questions, guys, about yung asset management ratio? Okay. Kung wala, guys, let's go to the debt ratio. Okay. So debt ratio naman, ano naman to? Okay. So it's the ratio between your total liabilities and total assets. It tells us that how much is financed by debt for every peso of total assets. Okay? So sabi natin guys, using credit is very important. No? May role yan sa company. Hindi maganda guys na total equity lang lahat. Wala man lang ka-leverage. Kasi may purpose yung utang. And the reality is, in so many instances, hindi sufficient yung funds ng company to finance very good, viable projects. So, kung walang funds ba, hindi na lang gagawin kasi wala tayong funds eh. Di mangutang guys, especially kung yung return ng project niyan is greater than the weighted average cost of capital. No? Borrowing allows the company to engage in projects that are worthwhile, whose returns are higher than the weighted average cost of capital. Okay, another importance of yung debt guys is that may leveraging effect yan. Pag may debt, may interest. So interest reduces the taxable base. So bababa yung yung tax ng company. Okay, but may limitation din yan guys taken to an extreme wherein the debt ratio is already very high. Medyo baka hindi na kaya ng company i-service yung interest payments at saka yung principal payments. So this has to be taken into consideration. So it's not enough that sabihin natin na maganda yung mataas yung debt ratio. Not necessarily. Remember, what's the best capital structure? The best capital structure is a capital structure that optimizes the shareholder value. Okay? That's the best capital structure. So maganda ba yung 80.7? Well, we don't know really, no? The company has to address that, pero dito nakikita natin na yung debt ratio nag-shoot up from 54 to 80%. Saan nanggaling yun? Kasi kung titingnan natin yung balance sheet, guys, you'll notice na yung long-term debt niya, 323 tas naging 1 million. Tumaas, no? Tumaas yung yung long-term debt, tapos yung equity, pareho lang din naman. Okay, so you have a scenario here where debt really went up, equity remained the same, so tataas talaga yung debt ratio niyan. And then, anong nangyari dito sa 2020? Bumaba naman yung long-term debt natin. Okay, kasi nagbayad tayo ng principal, so that the result is that bumaba yung And tapos pa pala, tumaas naman yung equity, no? Okay, from 557 to 1977, tumaas yung equity naman, bumaba yung debt, resulting into a 43% na debt ratio. Si competitor, 50%. So mas magaling ba si competitor kaysa kay company natin? The answer guys is no, we don't know. Kasi hindi natin binabasehan dito sa sa mga values na to eh. Ang question dito, is the company able to optimize shareholder value? And there's a way to compute that, no? May way para makita natin kung yung debt ratio ba nagge-generate siya ng optimization ng shareholder value. Pero hindi pa natin i-discuss ngayon dito yun. Okay, so suffice to say lang guys na debt has been erratic, no, yung debt ratio. From 2018 tapos 2019 medyo pataas-baba siya. We can say that the competitor is more leveraged than the company natin. Kasi 50% si competitor, si company natin 43.8. Okay. Next guys is TIE, times interest earned. Yung formula niya, EBIT over interest expense. Ano ibig sabihin nun? EBIT over interest expense. Oops, sandali Yes, Mark, may question?
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, ano po yung values na nilagay nyo para sa formula ng debt? Yes, sir.
Okay, ito yung formula natin total liabilities over total assets. Okay, thank you for that question, Mark. So ang total liabilities natin is sum down ng 3132. So it's total current liabilities at saka long-term debt natin. So itong dalawa. This is our total liabilities. Dalawa yung component na. Divided by the total assets. Ito.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sige. Thank you.
Thank you,
Mark. Okay, good. Appreciate really your questions. No? Okay, so that's how we get the debt ratio. No? Ito din, sorry. Ganun din to, no? Total current liabilities at saka yung long-term debt divided by the total assets. Okay, so makikita natin dito guys, we can see here the volatile nature of our debt ratio because of borrowings and because of equity infusion dito sa 2019 at saka sa 2020. Okay, then the interest times interest earned. Ang measure nito guys, magkano yung EBIT natin to service your interest expense. Remember guys, sa income statement natin, EBIT muna tapos interest expense. So the higher the tie, the more capable is the company to service its interest expense. So ano ibig sabihin na itong 3.35 noong 2018? Ibig sabihin noong 2018, no? It means that for every peso of interest expense, the company has EBIT, operating profit of 3.35 para bayaran yung interest expense. Noong 2020, okay, dito tumaas yung utang noong 2019 pala. So tumaas yung interest, no? Okay, tapos bumaba yung EBIT kasi kung titingnan natin guys, take a look at this, the income statement, no? 2019 is a very critical year kasi ito yung EBIT, no? 17.4 lang. Tapos ito 176 yung interest expense natin. So hindi kaya natin bayaran yung interest expense from the EBIT. Okay? Kaya bumaba yung EBIT natin dito kasi ang taas ng increase ng total operating cost relative to your sales. In fact, we can see that here, di ba? Sa ano natin ito, sa horizontal analysis natin. Si sales tumaas ng 70%, tapos dito naman tumaas ng 80% yung total operating cost natin. So mas mataas pa yung increase ni operating cost kaysa sa sales. Alright? That's why we see here, EBIT is only 17, tax interest is 176. Compare that with 2018. Mas malaki yung EBIT kaysa interest. Ganoon din kay 2020. So yung tie natin, guys, for 2018, 2019, 2020, problematic tayo dito sa 2019 because there is not sufficient, no? There's not sufficient EBIT to pay interest expense. No problem with 2018 and 2020. Okay, so we go to the ratios. Ang sabi ito yung tie natin. Okay, nagka-problema tayo sa 2019 no? Kasi 10 centavos lang ang available na operating profit in order to pay interest expense. So sa bawat 1 peso interest expense, meron lang tayong 10 centavos to pay it. Samantalang si 2020, 6.28. And in fact, we performed better than the competitor. Okay, a broader measure of debt ratio is EBITDA coverage. So may ano ako dito guys, meron ako ditong notes. Just kindly read that for further explanation. So ano tong EBITDA coverage? Okay, you'll notice guys na iba na yung formula natin. So dito, dinadagdag natin si lease sa numerator at saka sa denominator. Hindi natin i-discuss yung lease. Okay, kasi medyo advanced topic na yan. But there are two types of lease, operating lease and financial lease. So you'll learn that when you go to college, guys, yung treatment ng lease. But it's just to suffice, guys, yung formula ng EBIT, the coverage, ipapasok natin si lease sa numerator at saka lease sa denominator. Now, since we don't have lease payments, so i-ignore lang natin yan. So, interest, alam natin, ang problema natin yung principal. Kailan magkakaroon ng principal payments? Well, i-compare natin yung increase or decrease ng principal payments. Okay? So let's start with the computation for EBITDA coverage in 2018. Okay, so kung titingnan natin guys, okay. Sa principal, titingnan natin dito sa long-term payment, 2018, compare natin sa 2017, wala tayong value ng 2017. So hindi natin alam kung nag-increase or nag-decrease yung long-term debt, no? So we will just assume na wala tayong principal payments dito. Meron tayong interest lang. Interest natin sa 2018 is 62,500. Kailangan natin to kasi this will be part of the denominator. Now, when we go to 2019 ngayon, ano nangyari sa 2019? Long-term debt, 1 million. The previous was 323. Okay, so ano nangyari dito? Nagbayad ba tayo ng principal or no? Paki-chat please kung yes or no. Yes, nagbayad tayo ng principal. No, hindi tayo nagbayad. Ang net effect. Was principal paid in 2019 based on the long-term debt? Yes or no, please? Paki-chat. Okay, let's see your answer. Yung iba, no. Okay, no, yes. So meron tayong conflicting answer, no? Yung iba, guys. May I have your answer? Okay, Mika, no. Okay. Who else, guys? Paki-chat yung sagot, guys. Kung no, okay. All right. So thank you for your answers. The answer, guys, is no. No, bakit? Kasi nadagdagan yung utang natin. So ang assumption natin dito, hindi tayo nagbayad ng principal. Okay, from 323, naging 1 million yung utang natin. Okay, but from 2019 to 2020, ano nangyari? Lumiit yung long-term debt natin. So there was a payment of principal. So aside from interest, kasi may interest tayo dito, no? Aside from interest na 80, meron ding payment tayo sa principal. So yung formula natin na interest plus principal, isasama natin kung magkano yung binayad natin ng principal. So the payment of the principal here was just the difference, 1 million minus 500. Kasi nabawasan yung long-term debt natin, ibig sabihin nagbayad tayo ng 500. So sa 2020, isasama natin tong plus 500 na to. Okay? So let's go here sa EBITDA coverage natin. So 2018, guys, ang assumption natin, wala tayong principal payments yan. 2019, wala din tayong principal payments yan. 2020 tayo nagkaroon ng principal payments. So our formula here will be just EBITDA. So EBITDA is simply your EBIT plus the depreciation and amortization. I-add lang natin yun. Divided by, okay, sum of, ito interest expense lang. Kaya pwedeng sum of, kaya pwedeng divided by C11 yan. Kasi itong formula natin, interest plus principal, wala namang principal payments. Wala ding lease, kaya divided by interest lang yan. Okay, pagdating dito, ganun din, guys. No? So this is EBIT plus DA, so EBITDA to, divided by interest, walang principal payment, walang lease. So this is just the interest. Dito na magbabago, guys, sa 2020. So EBITDA divided by sum of interest and your principal payments. Itong principal payments, guys, is 1 million okay, minus 500,000. See? So it's 500,000. Okay? Ay, sorry. Oops, mali. Nawala. So that's this minus this. Okay? Enter. All right. So how do we interpret this? Of course, the higher the EBITDA coverage means the better because it means that the company can really service its interest, principal, and lease payments. So nung 2018, mataas yung EBITDA coverage natin, pero bumaba siya nung nung 2019 kasi tumaas yung interest dito eh. Mataas yung interest dito. Then medyo tumaas ng konti nung kasi nagbayad din tayo ng principal dito ng 2019. Okay, so that reduced our EBITDA coverage kasi mataas yung principal payments natin at 500,000. All right? Compare that with our competitor, mas capable si competitor natin to cover their interest, principal, and lease payments kasi mataas yung EBITDA coverage nila kaysa sa atin. Okay? All right. Any questions, guys? Pause muna ako. Any questions, especially dito sa times interest earned, EBITDA coverage? Any questions? Okay. Yes, sino may questions? May nag-raise ang hands. Okay, who would like to ask the question first? Who were the ones who raised their hands?
Sir, dun sa EBITDA coverage
sino
for
to? Sino to?
It's Mark po.
Mark, sige. Oo.
Sir, for the EBITDA coverage ng 2020, you
Okay.
just added yung 500,000
Yeah, oo. Yung
sa
interest,
denominator.
yes, oo. Kasi ang formula natin, interest plus principal plus the lease. Wala tayong lease eh. Ang question, ano yung principal payments natin? Nagbayad ba tayo ng principal noong 2020? Yes.
Yes.
How do I know? Kasi from 1 million yung long-term debt, naging 500. Okay, remember guys, mga principal to Okay, and interest is based on the principal. So pag nag-increase yung principal, ibig sabihin, ang assumption natin nun, wala tayong binayaran na Ang net effect niyan, tumaas yung kailangan natin bayaran kasi tumaas yung utang. Pero noong 2020, from 1 million, naging 500 na lang yung long-term debt natin. Ibig sabihin, nagbayad tayo ng principal niyan. 1 million minus 500,000. So that's 500,000. Ito yung principal na idadagdag natin dito sa formula na to. Dun sa interest plus principal. This one.
Sir, but
Yes, Mark?
sir, but I don't know why I got a different value.
Okay. Sige, tingnan natin ha. Ang numerator mo ba, you added E10 and E8?
Yes, sir. I made a separate row to get the EBITDA.
Okay. Sige, okay lang yun.
And
So
then
it should
denom-
be EBIT, no?
Yes,
Plus
sir. EBIT
120.
plus-
So you should
yes,
be
sir.
getting 622.
Yes, sir.
622. And then divided by interest,
80.
interest 80 plus yung 500,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
I
dapat
got
you should be
it.
getting, ano nakuha mo?
It's very big, sir.
What, as in what? What very big?
500,000
Talaga?
something.
Wait, sandali. Tingnan natin ha. So ito kasi yung sum nito, it should be 622,640, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Tama?
Yes, sir.
622,640, control C. And then ito naman,
So
580. 622,000 divided by 580,000. Dapat malapit lang yan kasi magkalapit sila, di ba?
opo.
620 divided by 580, that should give you more than one lang. So kindly check your formula, Mark.
All right, sir. I got it.
O ba ano yung ano mo? Saan ka nagkaano?
I think there was a discrepancy lang, sir, dun sa formula with the cells. Yun lang.
Okay. Sige.
My
Okay.
bad.
Thank you so much, no? Okay, thank you. Very good. I appreciate, Mark, yung question mo. Who was the other one who asked a question? Okay, Basti, ikaw ba yan? Is the 2020 EBITDA expense 1.07? Basti, sorry, paki-share nga yung question mo sa ano? Sa class. Basti?
Hello? Sorry,
Yes.
sir.
Oo.
Yung isa kong pong question na tinanong ko po sa'yo, that was just a while ago po. I was gonna ask you a very different po question.
Sige.
Sorry, my bad. For the EBITDA coverage, at this point, do we disregard na po yung lease?
Oo, kasi wala ang binigay sa atin na lease, no? Pag may binigay na lease, then dapat isasama natin 'yan. Lease payments, no? Walang binigay na lease. So kunyari
Sir.
nagbigay kunyari ng lease for 2019, no? If nagbigay sa atin ng lease for 2019, so ang magiging formula natin, EBITDA plus lease, isasama natin yung lease sa numerator, and then isasama din natin siya sa denominator. Okay?
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, actually, sir, it's hidden po in the file.
Nabigay ba?
You put, yes, sir. You have
Yes, sir,
those
actually.
payments po.
My bad. Naku, sorry. Sandali. O nga pala, hinide ko nga
It's
pala to, no? Yeah, oo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sorry. So, ayan, ang kailangan unhide ko lang, ha? Okay. Yeah, there are lease payments. Okay, lease payments ng, yeah, okay. So, yeah, guys, my apologies, guys. So, mababago tong formula natin, ano? Since there are lease payments, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see this. So, our EBITDA coverage will be, okay, sum ng C10, C8, at saka idadagdag natin sa yun. So that will be C44. Okay? So pareho lang naman yung ano, no? Hindi naman nagbago yung ano. Idadagdag lang natin dito C44. Okay? Hindi pa pala. So we will have also to add here C44. Yan. Okay. Thank you. Okay, dito naman, idadagdag natin dito si D44, add it in the numerator, and also add it in the denominator, D44. Yan. Okay, and then this one, okay, this should be E44, and sama natin dito si E44. Yan, so tatlo na dito, no? Yan. Control Enter. All right. So halos hindi din naman nagbago, no? Okay, not so much effect on the nagbago sa 2018, but not so much for 2020. So E44, E44. Okay. All right. Oh, thank you guys for pointing that out, no? Sorry, naka-hide kasi kaya medyo it escaped my mind na may binigay pala na no? Lease payments. Okay. So that's good. Maraming salamat. Thank you so much for that. Okay. So any other questions about the EBITDA coverage? The interpretation still remains the same, guys, no? Kasi yung lease payment parang ano din yan parang ano siya, parang it's like a operating lease, parang regularly babayaran yan dapat, no? So it's like a fixed expense that the company has to really consider, no? So binabayaran lagi yan. So that's the EBITDA coverage. So dito, talon-talo pa rin tayo ng competitor natin kasi 8 yung ano nila, 8 yung available funds to address yung interest, principal at saka yung lease. Samantalang tayo barely, no? Sufficient lang na 1.07 pesos available EBITDA coverage for every peso of interest, principal and lease requirements. Okay, good. Thank you so much.
Sir,
Yes.
can you just show lang po ulit yung
Formula?
formula dun sa 2020 EBITDA coverage?
Okay, sige, sure. Okay. So that's your this is your EBIT. This is your depreciation and amortization. This is your lease, no, for 2020. And then isa-sum natin yung this is your interest, this is your lease, and this is your principal payment. D32 minus E32.
Oh, okay po, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Really appreciate your cooperation. I'm really happy with questions like this, no? Okay, so we go to profitability ratios. Okay, so dalawang klase ito, no? Ito yung mga regular na profitability and then sinegregate ko yung price multiples, no? Which is part of profitability ratios. Okay, first is operating margin. That's very easy. It's simply EBIT over sales. So magkano yung operating profit natin na nakukuha per peso of sales? Ito guys, since both of these are income statement accounts, so wala tayong ina-average dito. Pero pagdating natin dito guys sa BEP, ROA, and ROE, please take note of the change, no? Ang nalagay ko lang dyan sa inyo, total assets lang. Since this is EBIT, this is an income statement account, i-divide natin sa balance sheet account, dapat i-average ang kukunin natin. So average dito. Okay? So dito, it just measures ilan yung operating profit natin, no? Sa operating margin, ilan yung operating profit natin for every peso of sales. Okay, so 2020 was really a very subpar year kasi ito 0.3 centavos lang, no? Ito 6 centavos, 0.3 centavos, 7 centavos. Okay, so there was a marked improvement in 2020. Even better than 2018 and a lot of percentage change. Ang laki ng tinaas niya sa compared to 2019. Pero talo pa rin tayo ng competitor natin. Our company is able to generate more operating profit for every peso of sales. Okay, so profit margin guys, itong profit margin, it's net income after tax. Ito yung bottom line. No? So 3 centavos na lang. Sa bawat piso na nabenta natin, 3 centavos na lang yung talagang kinikita natin. Ito negative kasi ang net income after tax natin is negative. Then, sa 2020, nag-improve naman siya, 4 centavos. But still, we're operating less okay, compared to our benchmark company, our direct competitor. Okay? So itong tatlong to, guys, ang kino-compare natin dito, mga income statement accounts versus our balance sheet accounts. So ang BEP, okay, basic earning power, magkano operating profit, no? Sa bawat piso ng asset na ginagamit natin. So in 2014, okay, so tingnan natin yung formula. This is your EBIT divided by the average of your total assets. B25, C25. Okay? Tapos, ito, EBIT then divided by average ng total assets. Okay? And then, so ang baba dito sa 2019, but it increased remarkably noong 2020. But still, we're performing behind our direct competitor na 18%. Okay. So si ROA naman, ROE, pareho lang yan guys. Ang denominator lang nila, total assets yung isa, return on assets, ibig sabihin, ang denominator, TA, and then our numerator is net income after tax. So sabi natin dati, di ba, mas magandang yung measures ang ROIC compared to ROA and ROE. Kasi dito sa dalawang measures na to, ROA and ROE, it does not take into consideration yung cost ng capital na ginamit natin. Okay, Basti, yes?
Sir, yung value ko po kasi sa return on assets and
Okay.
return on equity po, parang iba po siya.
Okay, sige, let me flash the formula, no? So,
No, sir. Yung sa 2018 po, okay po siya. Pero yung sa
Okay.
2019 po, parang nag-iiba po siya.
2019, D14 over average ng C25, D25.
Opo, sir. Pero ang value ko po wait, yung C25 and D25 is...
Total assets.
Opo,
Bak-
yung iba po yung value na kinuha ko po.
Anong value ng total assets mo?
No, I mean, sir, yung value po, sir,
Yung
wait,
answer?
no. Wait, sir, wait.
Hmm.
Sorry, sir. Yung
It's
kinuha ko
okay.
po kasing answer is negative 4.4 for 2019.
29, negative 4.4.
Opo.
Naka-percent ba yan?
Hindi po, sir.
So,
wait.
Baka naka-percent siya. Kasi ang 0.04 is the same as, kunyari, gagawin kong percent to, baka naka-percent siya.
Okay, never mind. I think
Yeah.
I got the culprit,
Oo,
sir.
yan. Oo, naka-percent ka, no? So, it's the same, no?
Wait.
Ang ginawa ko siyang decimal.
Decimal.
So 4.4% nga siya, but if you convert this into a decimal, 0.04 siya.
Okay, I got it.
Okay,
Kaya pala
it's
po,
okay.
sir.
It's okay. Thank
Sorry,
you.
sir.
Thank you, Basti. No, nothing to be sorry about. I really appreciate questions like that. Kasi also baka questions din yan ng ibang classmates, no? And thank you for speaking out loud for that, no? And that's good. That's good na clarify mo.
Thank you po, sir. Thank you rin po.
Salamat, salamat. Thank you for that question. I really appreciate that. So 0.04, actually 0.04, ano yan, 44 or 437, nakatrancate lang siya into 2 decimal places. That's equivalent to negative 4.37%. So be worried, guys, of the percent and the decimal, no? Okay, so let's just be conscious of that. Okay, ito tumaas, no? So dito, 4 centavos lang yung ROA niya, negative pala to. So palpak to, no? Kasi net income nito negative. Pero nag-improve siya ng 8 centavos per peso of total assets. Pero talo pa rin tayo dun sa ano natin, sa competitor. 0.09. Okay, so ganun din yung ROE, guys. Although we outperformed our competitor, tayo 27 pesos, 20 centavos ang net income natin per 1 peso of equity. So we performed better than our direct competitor. Okay, so I'm looking at the time, 10 minutes. Okay, so I will have to have a bit. Mamaya, guys, baka humingi ako ng kahit 2 or 3 minute extension. I hope that's okay. Just for us to be able to finish this. Okay, so punta na tayo dito sa EPS, earnings per share. Yung earnings per share, guys, ang formula niyan, net income after tax over average number of shares. So ang sinasabi lang yan, magkano yung kinikita ng bawat isang share? Yung bottom line ng bawat isang share, magkano kinikita? So the formula is, this is your net income after tax divided by the average number of shares. Pwede rin natin kunin yung average shares ni 2019 kahit na walang nakasulat dun sa 2020, no? At 2018. Okay. So we expect this to be negative. So ang ibig sabihin nito, bawat isang share naglo-lose ng 0.95 kasi it's negative. But it improved in 2020. It's now positive kasi positive na yung net income natin. So bawat isang share kumikita dito ng 1.45 pesos. Okay, but we lack in terms of our direct competitor kasi sila 1.85. So mas kumikita yung bawat isang share nila. Tayo 1.45, sila 1.85. All right, then we have this two profitability ratios then, but they're called, ang tawag sa kanila guys kasi price multiples. Okay, so that's a note here, only those with positive values for the basis are relevant. So I placed here, okay, a site for you to read more on price multiples. So I leave this guys to you to read kasi maraming klaseng price multiples. Dalawa lang yung kino-compare natin dito. So una-una guys, yung mga price multiples na to, relevant lang siya kung positive, no? Nevertheless guys, i-compute natin siya, tapos i-interpret natin siya as if na positive siya para maintindihan lang natin. So ito guys, negative to, so dapat outside the outside the interpretation na to. Hindi natin, makes no sense to interpret this. But we will assume that this is positive. The formula is the price divided by the EPS. Okay, ano ibig sabihin nito? Assuming na positive to guys, 6.31. Ang ibig sabihin nito, in order for you to get 1 peso earning per 1 share, no? Kailangan bibili ka nito ng 6.31. Okay? 6.31 yung price niya sa market to get 1 peso return earnings per share. Okay, so ano ba siya? Ang ginagawa ng per guys, malalaman natin kung mahal siya, overvalued siya, or undervalued siya. No? If it's expensive. Okay, again guys, this does not make any sense no? Kasi negative siya. But assuming that this is positive, we can now compare it with 8.4. Ang ibig sabihin ng 8.4 dito, sa bawat we need to buy that stock at 8 pesos and 40 centavos in order to generate, to have an EPS of 1 peso. Ano yung EPS? 1 peso na net income after tax. So para magkaroon tayo ng net income na piso sa bawat share natin, kailangan mag-invest ka ng 8.4. Okay, so the higher the per, ito, yung price earnings ratio there, it's also called per, no? Price earnings ratio. The higher the per, the more expensive it is for investors. Dito makikita natin na mas mahal si benchmark company. Kasi in order to have this stock, you will have to buy it at 9.5 in order to have an earning of a net income of 1 peso per share. Okay, so the higher the per, the more expensive it is in relative terms. No? In relative terms. So we're comparing. Okay, isa pa guys, yung price to cash flow ratio. Ito naman ang kino-compute yung operating cash flow. Okay, so dito may pinakita na ako dito for your reference. Okay, so dito guys, operating cash flow for 2019 and operating cash flow for 2020. We need to compute for this and divide it by the number of shares to have the operating cash flow per share. Okay, so where did I get this? Dito sa sheet na to, di ba ginawa na natin dati yung cash flow for 2020? And then it turns out that the operating cash flow is 175.36 from operating yan. So, ilagay ko dito yan, no? 175.36. Sa 2019 naman guys, kinumpute ko rin. No? 2019, ito lang yung pro forma ko. So you know how to do this guys. I will not explain that anymore. Changes in accounts payable, changes in accruals, etc. So ang operating natin is 503.936 negative. Okay, so dun ko nakuha yung 503.936 dito. Yan. So this came from yung sheet 1. Okay, by the way, isi-share ko guys yung worksheet na to. Okay, then we divided by the number of shares. Noong 2019, it was 100. Noong 2020, it was 250. And if we divide this guys, makakakuha tayo ng operating cash flow per share. So this is 5.03. This is 0.68. Kaso nga lang guys, negative siya, no? So again guys, this will not make any sense pag pumunta tayo dito sa price to cash flow ratio. Kasi dito, again, price divided by
I got so lazy.
Cash flow per share, no? Price divided by cash flow per share. So yun ang formula na yun. Ito naman, price ng 2020 divided by cash flow per share.
Yang
Okay? So we have now 1.19 at saka negative 17.84. Parehong negative guys. So again guys, it doesn't make sense to interpret this. However, for our purposes, assume lang natin na negative to. Ang ibig sabihin nito, guys, ang value ng stock ng company 17.84 pesos in order to have an operating cash flow of 1 pesos. Medyo mahal, no? Para makakuha ka ng operating cash flow na piso, you need to buy it at 17.84 compared to our benchmark company 7.6 lang. Okay, so this might make this company more attractive to investors. Kasi ang sinasabi nito, gusto mo ng 1 peso na operating cash flow, here you need to invest 7.6. Ito naman you need to invest 17.84. Again, guys, assuming that this is positive. So we are actually not able to interpret this negative kasi prices to it. No? Wala namang price na negative. No? So I was just assuming that it's positive. And again, guys, assuming na positive to, itong 1.19, nagtaas siya noong 2020 yung price ng stock natin compared to 2019 relative to 1 peso operating cash flow. Okay? All right, so it's almost time, guys. I hope I have your permission. Sandali lang to, no? This will not take more than 3 minutes, no? 4 minutes. So ito, yung book value per share, book value lang yan, no? So ito, tingnan natin, book value yan ng total equity divided by, so dito. So this is your total equity divided by the average number of shares. Okay, so we have for, okay, sandali. C40, D40. Yan. Okay, kinuha natin yung average shares. For 2019, kinuha natin average shares dito. Kahit wala yan, pwede din naman natin kunin yung average. Okay, so that gives us our book value per share. No? So dito, ganun din, kinapilan natin yung formula. So ano ibig sabihin nito? According to our books, accounting books, ang value ng isang equity, ng isang share, in terms of the equity is 5.6, tumaas siya ng 11.3, which is good. No? Pero sa competitor natin, sa bawat share, ang value ng equity niya 13.6. The higher the better to. Kasi ibig sabihin nun, sa isang share, tumaas yung value ng equity. So ito guys, kino-compare lang natin yung market value divided by the book value. Meron na tayong book value per share. Ang market value natin given na rin, ito yung 6 pesos. Ito naman yung 12 pesos. No? So, dinivide lang natin yan. So, ito, the higher, the better. No? Ibig sabihin nito, mas mataas yung market value kaysa sa book value. Pero ito, halos pareho lang. No? Kasi 6 pesos lang dito eh. Ang market value, pero 5.6 yung book value. So, konti lang yung difference. Okay? So, si competitor, mas mataas. So, mas maganda yung market to book value ratio ni competitor compared to our company. Okay, guys? So I'll go here. May I have 3 minutes, guys? Permission lang, guys, please, kung okay lang. But if you need to go, it's okay, guys. I will not take it against you. But for the rest, guys, okay lang ba? Permission, 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, salamat. Thank you so much. Okay. So ito, guys, ginagamit lalo na dati ito yung DuPont kasi. DuPont is a company, chemical company yan. Kasi dati ang pinakabida na measure ROE. Ngayon hindi na. No? Mas ano na yung ROIC, RONA, ROCE, may ibang measures that takes into consideration yung capital charge. Si ROE hindi kasi. So ito lang yung formula ni ROE, net income after tax over average total equity. If you multiply that by sales over sales and average total assets over total assets, and then reposition this can be converted into profit margin, TATO, and financial leverage multiplier. Ang sinasabi ni DuPont, three-way analysis, kasi importante yung ROE. In order to increase ROE, it means you have to increase profit margin, you have to increase TATO, you have to increase financial leverage multiplier. Okay? So in fact, may 5-way analysis pa yan. So just going here, okay, kinapi ko lang sa taas yung ROE. No? Copy-paste lang yan. Profit margin, meron na tayo. TATO, meron na tayo. Sa taas din, no? Naka-link lang yan sa taas. Ang wala natin, guys, yung equity multiplier. Si equity multiplier, ang formula ng equity multiplier is average total assets divided by average total equity. So yun lang yun. No? So average total assets divided by average total equity. Okay? So the higher the equity multiplier, the better. It increases your ROE. So, minultiply ko lang to guys, product ng PM, TATO, at saka equity multiplier, and I get this one, 13.33. So I'm getting the same ROE. So ang sinasabi natin dito, yung ROE na to can be computed in terms of profit margin, TATO, and equity multiplier. So it decomposed ROE, no? So the higher this 3R, the better your ROE. So sinasabi lang natin dito, tingnan yung profit margin, tingnan yung TATO, tingnan yung equity multiplier instead of just taking a look at ROE. Okay? And lastly, itong Altman Z, guys, this is a model by which you can predict if a company will become bankrupt or not, making use of ratios. So andito yung ratios, I'm going to send this to you. Kindly just follow kung paano kinumpute to. Ang importante dito, okay, may reference din dito, please read on this. Itong reference na to, sinasabi dito na kapag yung ratio daw, yung Altman Z score, it's between 0 and 1.8, it's possible that the company will become bankrupt in 2 years' time. Pag mataas siya, greater than 3, okay yan, safe zone yan. Yung gray zone will be between 1.8 and 3. So hindi natin sigurado kung magiging bankrupt or hindi ito. It has been used in several instances and nakita nila na very effective yung Altman Z. Okay, so ito guys yung mga ratios, andito yung mga formulas. So just follow this. Yan yung mga formulas na yan. Okay, and then ito yung factor. So minomultiply lang natin yan sa bawat isa dito. Okay, so here the formula is sum product. Ibig sabihin ng sum product, kukunin yung product and then isa-sum up. 1.2 times this, 1.4 times this, 0.3 times this, and then isa-sum up niya. So finix ko yung factor, yung $C, $154, naka-fix siya dito. Okay, and then control enter. Dinag ko siya to the right. So we noticed that to 2019, ang pangit ng performance ng company, kaya nasa gray zone nga siya. So pag hindi napaganda to guys, possibly baka maging distress zone yan at maging bankrupt yung company. Kasi nag-net loss na siya. But 2020 guys, naka-recover yung company and it's now in the safe zone. Ibig sabihin, no chance for the company in the next 2 years to become bankrupt. Okay? So ito lang guys yung Altman Z. Your quiz on Thursday will include both modules 1 and module 2. Okay, with that guys, maraming salamat. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you. Stop